of employment with different kinds of tools for the purpose of killing and hunting animals in 2.5 million years ago. Different kinds of tools they used. So, the most brilliant of
The best minds of our time are telling us in no uncertain terms that you and I are living a time unlike any other time in recorded human history. And what makes this time so unique is never have 6.5 plus billion people been faced with the number of crises and the magnitude that each crisis carries, all compressed into a little window of time like you and I are living right now. The systems that appear to be sustainable hold up pretty well through the stress, but the ones that are not sustainable are the ones that buckle and collapse. The world is changing. Those systems, those unsustainable systems, are collapsing. It's our opportunity to honor the past and look to the future. Work together as a family that we are on this planet. Let's build a new sustainable world together.
If like attracts like, then why did Ethiopia and a challenging experience attract you?
One of the main subjects of what we're doing is development. Everyone's talking about the development of the country. Well, what about the development of self? What about going into yourself and figuring out what is it that I actually need to work on to become a better person? As an individual, what is my own development? What does that look like? And how can I use that to shape my own future and shape the collective? Because it all starts with the community when it starts with the individual. So as an individual, I came here to look at the challenging aspects of myself, and I found many more than I had bargained for.
Some of us, for some reason, have been woken up to this reality. Like woken up in a way, not like we've seen it on the news or just been exposed to it, but we've been freaking drawn to come and get on a plane and arrive in Africa and say, I'm here. I have no idea why, but I know I'm here for a reason.
Something is happening. And it's kind of hard to explain to people who don't see it coming. But if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. You see it clearly because it is both amusing and disturbing at once.
The Taliban is training monkeys to shoot and kill American soldiers.
And it's speeding up. And it will not sustain us. Have you ever just needed some perspective? Or have you ever been drawn to do something? Or go someplace, but you don't know why? It should come as no surprise that everyone is affected by overpopulation.
If we can prove that we can make a dent of change in a place like this, then you can make it anywhere. Going through some major culture shock.
The reason we went to Ethiopia was to film a documentary we were calling The Evolution of Cooperation. We wanted to look at the roots of the past and investigate humanity's capacity to work together and help one another, all the while trying to determine if we are in fact evolving. While traveling through Ethiopia, we noticed an extremely large number of NGOs and nonprofits. They were everywhere. In fact, Ethiopia receives more foreign aid than any other country in Africa, and from 2005 to 2008, it received over $3 billion. But where was all the money going? It didn't take us long to realize that the money people were donating simply wasn't reaching the people who really needed it. And after a while, we began to discover that most big-name NGOs were doing more harm than good. Aid is particularly vulnerable to corruption and misuse, especially when led by powerful donor agencies like the IMF and the World Bank. Big aid is big business. We decided to start from the ground level up, visiting individuals who are working on projects of their own to help the people directly.
All full strength and it's perfect.
And I really want to do something, and I really believe that I can change the whole thing, the whole problems.
My main priority in here is the center. I would say it's successful because we started with 7 students and now we have with 50. And everybody in here is happy, which I think is the success of the center.
These are Montessori kindergartens, and people ask for 25,000 euro to expand with 2 classrooms. So that will be a problem to find the money, but I will try, no problem.
And that's what I'm trying also on the other side. Of course it's a holistic approach, but also talking about the meaning of life, about a peaceful life. You know, when we are living in peace and harmony, we can do much better things than killing each other. You know, all this, that's what I'm trying to.
People understand I'm here for a long time, and that I am making an effort to learn the language, and are happy to see that. I think a lot of people come and go in short time spans.
Doing small work and it's happening. We see it around. It's happening everywhere. There's few people just sent here and there to bring I and I together. You know, it's happening still. Give thanks to the Most High for that. It's happening.
You have to believe first before you do. And then if you believe in it, if you believe in yourself, you can start. All the time when I go home, my father said, you have to stop this. And I try to tell to my parents that I really need to do this. But they just don't understand sometimes. And one day my father told me that, okay, if you do not stop, you don't want to stop this thing, you have to leave the house. And I said, yes, I'll leave and I'll sleep with the children. No problem. They know me, they will protect me. So I can sleep in the street, no problem. And then my father was really shocked and he said, okay, go, work. That was the first day, my freedom. I really want to do this. I really want to show them that I will do it forever. I want to show the people that I'm strong, I will do it. And tomorrow I will give you the advice how you can do it. I will be the example. We meet with the street kids in the street. So the people always buy to fast food and they ask me what are you doing, and I explain this. And they want to ask me that, can we help you? And I said, sure. Of course you can help me. What do you think? I think there is some people who want to do something, but maybe they don't know how to do it. If you really believe that you will do it, if you really believe, if you really want to do it, if you really need to do it, you have to promise to yourself that even if there is many challenges, I will not give up. This was my after a week, I really promised to myself that even if there will be millions of problems, I will face it, I will handle it, I will do it, and I will go on. This is not it's not like talking for some things, it's not business. This is children, this is a children life. If I start, I have to go on. This is a new game. Even if they lost a mother and father and they have many problems, but I hope they can see the future for the future. And that's why we are doing, like, every day we continue, every day we go there, every day we encourage them to go to school, to study hard, and to have the hope for the tomorrow. I think when God created you to be in the world, you have a mission to do something. And that's why we are different than the animals. So for me, a meaning of life is being helpful and being useful for yourself and for others. So this is a meaning of life for me.
It was inspiring to visit independent projects and meet individuals who are creating grassroots solutions to larger problems. However, as travelers with our own intentions to help, we grapple with the nature of the true problem itself. The more aid we encountered, the more confused we became.
From my perspective, we should be getting closer to being able to answer to people's basic needs, have fresh food, drinking water, sanitation systems, electricity that works. Systems like that should be starting to be commonplace, especially in a place that's been around since as long as humans. You would think that they would be a little bit closer to having some of these answers for themselves. That's the problem. That's the problem right there, is for themselves, that little phrase. I don't know that aid and these NGOs and organizations are actually designed to help people do things for themselves.
If we look at the aid, global aid, it's a bit, sometimes it's all right when it's a sudden catastrophe, but sometimes it creates dependency too, you know. Just to, you know, analyze this with many brothers, sisters today, actually, this aid thing that sometimes is used very wrong, you know. That people come, only leave to the refugee camp to get their rights there because they just need so much the food, but then they become dependent. It's somebody, some NGO or something have a control over their lives, you know, and they don't learn any skills to better them lives, you know. They run away from something to refugee camps where they just give aid, but aid should be more than just food, really, you know. It should be to teach them skills and how to grow them or make some clothes, maybe refugee camps, grow vegetables, something, you know. Survival strategies, how to live, how to survive. That's what's aid, you know. It would be nice to see that kind of aid in the world, yeah? Where it's actually more skill-based and giving them something, that tools to better them lives.
If we want to answer the question, what does Ethiopians want for their country, we have to start talking to Ethiopians. We are keep repeating the same mistake. We as Westerners, we come here and we say, this is what they need, this is what they want.
It is, even if they didn't have water, did they want the well?
No.
Right? I mean, you never know, because they were obviously surviving before that. Probably not ideally, and everyone should have access to water, no question. But
we decided they need this and that to survive.
That is also something we have to turn around. We should ask them questions. What do you want? Because we in Europe, or maybe in America, we find water, clean drinking water, very important, while they ask for a DSTV television to watch the World Cup next year. No, they want entertainment. They want something to do.
Television.
When you have nothing to do, there's nothing to motivate you, because there's no way you can spend your extra money anyway. Then food.
And that's what you see happening now in Gorgora, because all the youngsters, they leave because there's no entertainment. They go to school, after they finish there's no work, there's no entertainment, so they don't have any motivation to stay. And then you only have children and older people. Yeah.
And a few assholes.
Every single experience, every single day that I have in Ethiopia, it just highlights everything I don't know. And I'll tell you, man, some of these days I am completely and utterly at a loss. You know, like where I'm sitting by myself in the midst of everyone on the verge of tears, not knowing if anything that I believe is remotely applicable. You know, like, oh, okay, we want to save the world, we want to go to Africa, let's go to Ethiopia and help people. Fucking how?
In developmental work, we can think about many things about it. It's very Western, ethnocentric approach to it, you know. They want to develop the whole world to be like them, you know, the system orientated too much. That is a problem still with the cooperation. Another problem when it comes to developmental cooperation.
If you have 20 organizations trying to do HIV and AIDS prevention, then they become competition with one another. They're competing for resources, they're competing for resources outside the country, applying for money in grants and trying to keep their own organization funded as well as fund projects within Ethiopia. They start competing.
help is essentially a form of power, you know, because help, that you're helping someone, right? We want to, do you want to make people, you know, I don't know, the idea of help too. What, who are we helping? Why are we helping, you know?
I have a stomach ache and it hurts and it's been lasting for 2 days. I feel like shit.
How come?
I don't know. I think I
ate something or drank something.
Our little Dorze hut here has proved to be a bit challenging to sleep in. I have woken up yesterday and found 3 big bug bites on my arm, and then it completely swelled up to twice its normal size. I was pretty concerned that I would actually lose my arm.
I don't know, as you see here, some people are like surviving. They are not, we are not living. We don't have the whole thing to live. So we face a lot of problems here, a lot of problems.
That's the cat. Now imagine that this is my room and that it does that every single morning, non-stop.
Our external world reflects our own inner conflict. Having had our sights set out on making the world a better place, we find we can barely help ourselves. Everything becomes a challenge.
After 1 month, I don't know if we're any closer to any form of answers than we were when we left. I don't know, I'm at a breaking point. I don't know if I'm about to explode into some sort of enlightenment or if I'm just about to explode.
I can't really accept what's happening to me, the reality of what's happening to me. Even though I try, it's like I'm parting with these deep-rooted parts of myself that have really strong ties to how I think about myself, which I don't know if that's my ego or what. I keep referring to it as if it were self, but I don't know. I guess our egos are really intricate beings. So I don't know. I'm confused. That seems to be, the chaos and the confusion seem to be just the reality.
We go deeper into the bush than we had anticipated. In fact, we are traveling to one of the remotest places in Ethiopia. Through a series of synchronicities, we are befriended by an Ethiopian priest who has invited us to visit a tribe he has been working with for several years. He says he can get us a free ride out there, but he cannot guarantee our return.
God is the one who created us. We have an origin, who is God. And He created us for a purpose. For each one of us. And this purpose is to build, not to destroy. To build where we are, our environment, to build each other, and to respect life. You know, life has got a purpose, so why we destroy? We are now violating the plan of God. That's what I want these people to know. I think the first thing they want, from what I saw from them, is they want food, enough food, bread, yeah? They want a good shelter, they want clean water, they want a good means of transport, because they go far, they walk and they carry, so they want these basic things, basic necessity. They don't have it yet. Let's pray now. We're gathered here. What we are doing, we are trying to do is to start or to initiate integrated community development. We want people the community to understand their problem and to also look for solutions by themselves for their problem.
በሰማያት የምትኖር አባታችን ሆይ ስምህ ይመስገን፣ መንግሥትህ ይምጣ፣ ፈቃድህ በሰማይ እንደሆነ እንዲሁም በምድር ይሁን። የዕለት እንጀራችንን ዛሬ ስጠን።
In our culture, killing a person is not immoral. Now in Christianity, to kill is a sin. So even in our culture, we have many harmful traditions which is against Christianity. So now, and I've seen that those traditions are very bad, which are now existing in our tribe, are very bad to common life of all human beings. So that's the way I have seen that Christianity has changed my life.
We talk about this. We talk about culture. We talk about economy, of agriculture, of education, of water sanitation, everything. We want to teach these people everything here. One side is spiritual, the other side also physical, both spiritually and physically. We want them to be transformed into the standard of normal level that human beings can live and God wanted them to live.
What wisdom can your tribe offer to the rest of the world?
Alana dai wage takama ke kigrele fura wago ke bita dai wage to ke kigrele fura umnigina temir to kafi buda irsha tagnata
Our time with the Dasanech people revealed that a rapid re-education is taking place, and even the most isolated of tribes are being called to reevaluate the way in which they live. We began to ask ourselves, what is it that truly sustains a culture if we can no longer recognize our original identity?
What the
people do.
When God created you.
Both things. Spiritual and physical.
We should all have as the goal for our lives to save the world, but we just have to find our way of saving the world.
The real sustainability is people, and that's in changing, not changing, I guess, but just investing in humanity, investing in people. But that in itself is not just sitting around doing workshops and sitting around doing that. It's more of a recognition. Sustainability is really recognizing that there is no quick fix, you know.
So what is important in life?
To be happy and respect the things you're having, and not thinking in possessions, but thinking in relationships, in building something up that makes opportunities for other people.
I want to end the spiral on like the little idea of just pure happiness.
You know what? You practice with the girls, you have fun,
yeah.
You see them laughing,
yeah.
That's enough.
That's what I'm thinking, that if I can make the girls happy, it will be a ripple effect. They will make someone else happy and someone else happy, and then I have saved the world a little bit every day.
Talking to so many volunteers and people who are working on their projects, the naivety of our own project and our mentality of coming here really started to show, you know, that saving the world is a big undertaking, and it's not. To say that it's not easy would be a huge understatement. And so if we can start focusing on what makes us happy, then we can start to evolve towards a happier civilization and really begin to identify what these obstacles of living are.
You know it exists. You know it. It's deep in your soul and it drives everything you do. And the more you open up and surrender to that, the more things just start to happen as they should. You know, like you came here. You're supposed to be here.
I know.
You're supposed to.
We had steady jobs, nice house, but we felt a little restless in Holland, not be able to do what we wanted to do. And after 3 months traveling, we started writing this project, and it's 9 years ago now.
If you generalize everything back, it comes always back to yourself. And if you say you do it just for others, you're just a liar.
Yeah.
You're here for yourself, and that you're doing this project and you involve the village with it, that's a nice thing to do. That makes me happy.
We do it for ourselves, because we felt not doing something important enough for ourselves in the Netherlands. So if you don't do it for yourself, you will fail. For sure.
For every day of work you see some result, and that's satisfying.
This is the place where you can just put your car, put your tent and relax. For us that's also big motivation, and that's also part of what makes me happy, that you offer all your guests just a special place where they feel home, where they don't have any difficulties. It can be very intensive traveling through Africa, to come to a place like this where everything is easy and possible and relaxed. That's already making the guests happy, and they also have their effects on the people we work with. we can do that as well with the profits from this place.
Yeah.
But then the people has to be willing to do it themselves also.
To actually dig the well and set it up.
Yeah. And somebody has to be taught how to maintain a well. Because that's what most of the time you see here. People get a nice classroom, they get a nice water pump, they get, you know, and then something breaks down and nobody knows how to fix it.
Of course.
Because nobody took the effort to teach somebody to maintain it.
Yeah, like this.
And that's the difference. They're helping themselves and we only support them with the tools. If they develop a logical thinking and know how to use what they have been learning from a book in real life, then you will see the difference.
Yeah.
And if they want a better job, they get the opportunity to get free education. Or even if they want to have education in Gondar, we support them. So if they want it, they can get it, but they have to do it themselves.
If we can empower people to live to their full potential, so follow their purpose, discover and follow their purpose, then whether their impact is to a small group of people or to a gigantic organization, it really doesn't make a big difference because you're fulfilling what it is you're supposed to do.
An inner knowing was beginning to surface, and the illusion between someone else's purpose and our own was breaking down. Still, we felt ourselves part of a collective need to prepare ourselves for the road ahead, wherever that may lead us. The desire to learn more was now mirrored around us, everywhere we went.
Once you are conscious that we are one planet, it's like working for your brothers, sisters, working for yourself, because we are a reflection of each other. There is no, in a way, the separation is illusion.
If you change your individual life, and the country will change, and your community will change, and you will have a big awareness for everything. That's why we really want to push them to go to school.
Education is, the sweet bean for everybody, I think. Education is more important, more, not for me, for everybody, for every purpose in the world.
I think it's like a basic thing to go to school and to study. If you didn't study, there is no change. So you will not change your life, you will not change anything. We have so many people, so many girls in each houses, like servants, they never go to school.
I believe you have to start when the children are really young. And then better education, different education, more like let the children be creative, let them fantasize, let them be children.
It's the one way to follow everything, education.
I think the education is very important for people here to develop their country. And, well, without education there's no future.
85% of Ethiopia's population is under the age of 15. Yet Ethiopia is but a microcosm of a larger global phenomenon. Today, there are more children on the planet than ever before, and each one of them is inheriting the problems of their forefathers. Our current world challenges are simply going to require a new kind of education and a radically new way of thinking and being. As we approach a new time in collective creation, each of us are being asked to do our part, because a sustainable future begins with a sustainable self.
If you would doubt that we need to learn to live together better and more healthy and more well, we need to learn how to take care of our environment, we need to learn how to take care of each other. That being said, right now it seems like there's a lot of obstacles in our way, but I don't think it's anything we can't overcome, but I think it will take a lot of reflection, a lot of thought, and action, and constructive action, people working together, people talking together, and putting everything down for a second and just re-examining what we are and who we are.
Question everything you hear. It's not necessarily truth that somebody tell you there. Yeah? That it's good to always put question mark out behind every information.
Yeah. Education is not only in the school, or not only you get from the school, from around of your place you get education from a people which they are giving you good idea, so you get education from them. So it's not only what you are learning in the school.
It's also the mentality that you have to pass on. It's the less tangible elements as well, You got to teach people how to follow your example in more ways than just how you plant the seed, how you water the field, in more ways than that.
What's his name?
Mike.
Nice to meet you.
Jonathan.
Amy. Jonathan. I am came to Farawi for working, and today I am not eating my lunch because it's far, very far. I am good by work. Sometimes is it good school, sometimes, but in the public school no good school. Because the teachers are is it not pay too much money, is it not understand, but in the private school is good teachers in like white months.
How many students are in your class? 50 students. There was something about Jonathan that grabbed both of our attention. Right away we could tell that he was incredibly bright and thirsty for knowledge. Time and again he wanted to discuss his education. We decided to invite him to our hotel and talk to him some more.
I am grade 8.
Okay.
My name is Jonathan Abebe. I am from Ethiopia.
And how old are you?
I am 12 years old.
Okay.
I am learning in a school. I am a good student.
Are you going to school right now?
Yes, now I am stopped last week.
How come?
Because I am not paid for my school.
If you were in charge of everything in Ethiopia, how would you change it?
I am learning and I am teaching for people. First I am learning.
And then you want to teach others.
Yes.
Why is it important to teach other people?
Because you must learn, you must teach, and that student, he teach another people. And all education, modern civilization.
The next day, we saw our young friend standing by himself, gazing up at a billboard for higher education. In him, we saw a part of ourselves. young potential on the precipice of massive global change. Looking at all the people around us, we couldn't help but wonder if they too were going through some kind of transformation.
So it's irrational to want to save the world?
No, it's not irrational, but you just have to take it one teeny beeny step at a time and hope that a million other people also take the teeny beeny steps, because then it will be a big step.
If you do your best, if you do your really best, for the whole individual people are doing their best to change the world, to change the problems, to solve the problems, it will be better. It doesn't mean that this is my responsibility. This is not my responsibility only. We have to think about the earth. It's not like Africa, America, or something black, white, or something. Everybody have responsibility. So everybody, if everyone think about the problem and try to solve the problem, it will change everything.
I mean, if you do the work you're doing well, anything you do in this life well is consciousness, I suppose, you know? I mean, that you're contributing to the overall progress, or I guess of whatever, of us, of the world.
I've come away with, I can handle a challenge and I can see it through, but it wasn't until I put myself in the situation that I realized that I can't give up. Because if I do, then what the fuck am I doing here? What are any of us doing here if we give up? Because isn't that the point of life, is to meet the challenges, face on, to admit that we're human, to admit that we're not perfect, and to continue to strive on to become better people.
As our trip came to an end, we found ourselves looking out to new horizons and re-examining the road we were traveling on. There is nothing external that is going to save us. No one waiting to take us by the hand and lead us to a sustainable future. At the end of the road, it's just us and the lessons we've learned along the way. Our future will depend on our own inner education and our ability to implement that change in our everyday lives. Make no mistake about it, evolution is a demanding and challenging process. If we can learn to depend on ourselves, then perhaps we can learn to depend on others. Because where we are going depends on all of us.
Well, just got back and it feels weird. It feels really weird. It's like sensory overload, but it has this familiar quality to it, so it kind of starts to fit back into your perception. It's like culture shock all over again. I feel like I just arrived in Ethiopia.
The time has come to leave Seattle. I'm ready to move on. I'm gonna miss this place. For the next 6 months, we traveled through a country we no longer recognized. The problems we had previously abandoned were now greater and more apparent. It was like we needed a sense of place all over again. Constantly on the search for a better way of living, we found our best educator to be nature herself. We began to ask ourselves, how could we create a life that mirrored the stunning beauty of the world around us? Now, completely immersed in the natural landscape, we soon found ourselves wanting to be with people who reflected the sustainability of the natural world.
We're not exactly sure where we need to be, but this nice lady just offered us a ride, so hopefully we'll figure it out real soon.
That's kind of it. The whole thing is local, and that's what we're focusing on. And I think that's what it's going to have to be. And so, you're right, if the local can network with the other local and learn from them, that works.
Why people aren't getting it now that our economy seems to be tanking every day, getting worse and worse? Why people aren't getting it? Like, there are places that have alternative churches. Why don't we start doing it more and more?
Right.
There's like the coils inside of here that are pumped through the water.
Personally, you know, we're trying to vision build 5-10 years down the road.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be living in the city. We don't want to be around electronics. We don't want to be, you know, completely reliant on the grid and
come up
control
here
them.
and join us.
To the barn. All right.
You have to put energy in to get energy out here.
I can see what my energy is going into, what it is to get the normal 9 to 5, paying for my electric and paying for, you know, like rent and blah blah blah, all that stuff, like living that sort of lifestyle versus living out here where you have to put some hard work in for what you're going to get, and you see it, you know, immediately, and that's what you're working with.
Like out here, you can really tell that the people have like a very good work ethic.
Yeah.
About themselves, and they understand the concept of responsibility, environmentally and like in a community sense. You come out here and you do want to help and you want to do a good job.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to be careful.
You want to make sure to see things through too. You're the one that has to work more if something doesn't get done.
I'd much rather pull a root out of the ground and make a tincture than go buy Benadryl. It's definitely a beautiful, beautiful escape from everyday life. And if you can, I'd try to make this your everyday life. There's just so much happening that just regularly occurs in nature out here, but they actually hone it into a small area and focus its energy and then use that to benefit its inhabitants, which is really cool.
I think, you know, if you're really truly sustainable, like in this big line of what is sustainable, like true sustainability, that's like the far edge of the spectrum. And where are we on, like if you got down to it with sustainability as a definition, that's truly sustainable, you've got a long way to go. Your ability to think critically and make decisions is predicated upon understanding of ecology and geology, plants, the animal kingdom, chemistry, building.
Yeah, this is the straw bale building. Oh, okay. This is the straw bale house, and this is to clean. All these plants are in here to clean the water.
Anybody else? Welding? Yo, what up?
It's also very much about personal empowerment and creating something that gives people a way to provide for themselves in a way in which they can begin to separate from the larger systems, by generating their own electricity, by pumping their own water, grinding their own flour. If you can grind your own flour, you can make your own bread. If you can generate your own electricity, you can live with electricity anywhere.
We're covering so much stuff here in 5 weeks that it's impossible to really like now I know all about soil science, or now I know all about plant propagation. I don't, but I've been given that push to take that first step. And yeah, a lot of it is you could maybe pick up a textbook and read the first couple of chapters and teach it yourself, but will you do that? And so coming here and seeing it and participating in it and learning by doing, even if it is very rudimentary, gives you that push, it gives you that energy to go out and learn more about it on your own after. And that's what I'm really excited about.
Also, we need to learn what we can in places like this and take it back and share. And then more people will integrate it into their lives, and then we do have this possibility of a transformation instead of just like everybody hunkering down in their like little wonderful nest. That's good for a while, but like it needs to go back out on a constant basis.
There's a metaphor to be said that life is a game, and so just being in the game rather than being on the bench is something I'm interested in doing.
If there's enough information out there and people are exposed to it enough times, eventually it'll start falling into place when other things start falling into place. I mean, we've already seen the price of eggs and milk and bread and food in general is going up, right? So like, what's going to happen as that continues? Which I think we all here agree that it's going to continue.
I am feeling a shift in a lot of people's like desires towards something more fulfilling.
The mindset of sustainability, I think, is going to be a challenge. I'm not worried about functional skills necessarily as much as I am what's actually involved in changing our psychology and how we view resources and relationships and all of these other components of what I consider to be sustainability.
I think if you just look out in the world today in society, we find ample examples of the problems which the lack of foresight that entails in thinking purely along linear terms. Those effects are everywhere.
The more people think for themselves, the more ideas that will eventually get put out into whatever you want to call it, the universe. And then that just increases your chances of coming up with more amazing things, you know?
And once more people start doing it, it's like a domino effect. It's like, well, she's doing what she wants to do, and so I can too.
I'm so excited because it's like, I haven't had a mission. I feel like I've just been floating in life. And now it's like, this shit I want to get behind, and I want to like incorporate this into a lot of different realms.
It all flows together, you know, that's the whole like permaculture aspect of it, is like, you know, you do this one thing and then it makes it easier for this other thing, for this other thing, for this other thing, and you find those patterns and you just work with how they flow.
Oh, this goes here, and this goes over here, and this goes here, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm getting this bigger picture of how these things work together.
Regardless of if something's native or not, it makes sense to me in the situation we're in right now for us to find things that do well where we're at, that feed us, that medicate us, that shelter us. And if we can put all of that into some kind of overlaying system that works together, like plants that work together, that take care of those needs like close to us, I think that we'd be in a better place than we are. I mean, look at a forest and look at the different roles in a forest, like that each plant's playing, the different layers, the different kinds of associations that happen there. And we start trying to form that in our gardens with things that benefit us.
The permaculture conservancy, where like we're not just conserving landscapes for the Fender's blue butterfly, but we're conserving landscapes for people and the practice of sustainable lifestyles that create even like great biodiversity and abundance for the Fender's blue butterfly and humans.
Like last year, there were 9 permaculture design courses in the Morelia Valley in the summer. So none of them filled. And all the teachers, like we all know each other and we're like, okay, how is this gonna work? You know, how can we not compete with each other? And, you know.
Man's role in stewarding the earth, I think, is like different for each like place man lives.
Welcome to A Guiding Light. I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'll be your host for the next 90 minutes. I'll be joined by my special guests and good friends, Mike Dickinson and Amy Schlotterbeck, Mike and Amy have traveled the world researching and making documentaries of sustainable life outside the current system. Can life be sustainable off the grid?
Immediately, what a lot of people think about when they think about sustainability and getting back to the land is they think about their energy system. How am I going to get power? You know, free energy and power, it's this thing that all of us talk about and say, oh yeah, it's there, we know it's out there, and it's kind of elusive, and it seems like we should have the technology, and maybe someone's keeping it from us. What I personally believe is that those energy systems, the ability to have that energy coming to you, is a byproduct of the inner landscape of the community members and what you're doing together. So what I say is I say start with the people. Start with one another. Start with what do you have available to you and what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And what are the limiting paradigms to that? And then start working through those things together. And I think the energy systems and everything else will come because the technology is out there. The design systems are out there. I mean, look at nature. They're not having any problem with finding energy.
Each person that comes to a location, whether it's a church or an altar or a place out in nature like this, it could just be a tree or a waterfall, and puts like conscious, intentional energy into bonding with the energies of the place, that it increases the juju of the place. It adds to it. The human conscious dimension adds to it. The yin and the yang, you know, one is going within and one is seeing what's without. So as you would be at a place like this where the energy is being concentrated, you would look around you and observe what's around you, like that bird and these oak trees and these grasses. And then after a while, you turn the other way and you start going inward to see, well, how is this affecting you? Do you feel, you know, are you getting a nice jolt of oxytocin because you're feeling safe and embedded in a really beautiful, beneficent landscape?
I definitely had my fears about being in nature, particularly by myself, and being immersed here and coming to call this place home really changed how I see the wilderness.
It's an incredible place in that when I'm here and I give myself the time to be here, I really feel like I can slip into that place of being in touch with myself, and this land is just so powerful in what it has to offer people.
I think any person that's just really interested in like growing, setting roots, and learning about what it is to have a deep sense of place, and learning some strong environmental ethics and what community living is like, is really good. And if you're willing to take on a little bit of a challenge of rustic living, which isn't even that challenging once you get to it, because then you find that you're in that community and then you have the community support to do it.
And when you're in community, it's so important to get to know each other and know how different we all are and what different places we all came from, so that we can also have compassion for each other.
And when you look at our fleet of vehicles, gasoline-powered vehicles, we have 4 vehicles that we have title to. So that's a lot of consumption right there.
But that one. Community studies was great because I was always thought about like living in a community and how that would be just beneficial. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes, you know, a village to just grow and be with people. And it's always, communities are just healthy, I think, for the individual. Being able to live like the community studies with the environmental ethics and about the applied conservation biology of how to live here was amazing. And then if you know the natural history, it's like you can work with it more. So it's almost like, you know, life permaculture classes.
I don't think I was really coming from that place of compassion either. I was, trying to change something that's outside of me without, thinking first, well, how does that affect that other person? How are my own patterns of behavior affecting this whole situation as a whole? So realizing the interdependence between all of us really is helping me find a kind of place of balance and harmony, trying to put these things into words, these things that are so important to this time that we are in now.
With but a shift in perception, a new world opens before us, and creative solutions to old problems quickly come into focus. If we truly want to be sustainable, we must learn what it means to go within, and thus understand that going within changes everything. With practice, we can travel deep into the seat of the soul, and as we more clearly see the details of who we actually are, an understanding takes place that everything we need to survive in this world, we already have. Our planet was designed for its inhabitants to flourish and thrive. In the natural world, the plants and animals remind us of our own awesome potential. They remind us that we have a birthright to inhabit this planet with everything else, because we are a community of co-creators, and each of us harbor a unique truth that only we can truly express. There's great mystery in the times ahead, and no one knows for sure just what the future will bring. As the seasons change, as the leaves fall, and as our roots grow deeper and stronger, we come to develop our own role in this great process of teaching and learning.
Come on, I want to show you something. This is a natural spring, and this is where we get our water, living mineral water, and it's piped to the cabin where I live. But I didn't set the pipe, and I didn't dig the ditch, so actually, I'm benefiting off of someone else's work.
This is our garden. This is where we come to nourish ourselves. This is where we come to get our food. But not all of it. In fact, we're only able to grow a fraction of the food we eat. The rest of our food comes from town. This is how we get to town. Though we only leave our home around once a week, we're still reliant on a gas-powered truck, and an old one at that. This is how we get our power. Solar power allows us to edit our films at home, while propane gives us hot showers twice a week. But because we are so far from everything, we have no cell phone coverage, so a handful of buildings are tapped into the grid. This is our community. Our community provides us with culture, friendship, trust, and an opportunity to co-create the sustainable future we dream about.
Blessed that we have such a talented group of individuals all getting together around the same thing. So, yeah, thank you.
Let's take another.
A community is comprised of individuals, and in today's world, the individual's ability to sustain oneself has never been more important. We must learn to feed ourselves.
Yeah. We're just excited. We know that it's one of the most prized edibles.
We must learn to shelter ourselves. We must learn to look after the environment.
course. Off to the water.
And we'd better learn how to have fun. With 7 billion people on the planet, you gotta admit there's a lot of potential. It kind of makes you rethink things in a different way. This is where we get our water. This is where we get our food. This is where we get our power. This is our community. This is the world in which we live, and the world that shall sustain us.
The meaning of life. Oh, the definition, you mean? Oh.
Your definition.
Oh. Meaning of life, I think that, when you are alive, when you are living, that's the meaning of life. Because if you are not living, you are out of life. So if you are living, you are in the, in the living of life, if you are live in the world. But if you are alive, you don't know. I think that will be definition, because there is, but I don't have more English to explain.